Everyone, with this, we quickly move on to our next panel. It is the discussion on tech-backed gold products. The moderator for this panel is Mr. Sudesh Nambiat of IGPC IIMA. He's been with IGPC for 4 years now, and prior to this, he was with GFMS Thomson Reuters for 6 years and has been connected with commodity markets since 2003. An economics graduate and a postgraduate from ICFAI Business School, Mr. Sudesh has been known for his sharp analytical thinking and unbiased opinions. And he would be steering a panel comprising of Mr. Ketan Kothari of Augmont. Can I start having my panelists up on the stage as I take their names? Mr. Ketan Kothari of Augmont, Ms. Saroja Yaramilli of Melora Online, Mr. Ritesh Singh, the CTO of Bright Metals, and Mr. Gaurav Mathur of Safe Gold. Also inviting Mr. Aditya Gupta of Rupee. Mr. Aditya Gupta would be joining us online. And ladies and gentlemen, this panel discussion is on tech-backed gold products. I hand it over to Mr. Sudesh Nambiat. Have a good panel discussion. A couple of our panelists are online.
Good afternoon, everyone. So nice to be here. Well, today we have an interesting session on the tech-backed gold products. So we have the entrepreneurs actually here who have launched these products in various verticals. One is the investment gold and rupee from gold as a collateral, and we also have online jewelry retailing from Melora. So just to start off, so it's been about 12 to 15 years since the launch of online jewelry retailing, and it's been continuing at good pace, going strength to strength. Many of the retailers are actually now moving to brick and mortars as well. This is a business that's been has seen quite a bit of interesting activities in the M&A, private equity investors, and we are seeing valuations of these companies far ahead than the stores that existed, that are even existing today, from where even my grandparents were purchasing jewelry from. So how is this technology enabling them to set apart? How the new how the new policies related to exports are going to pave the way for them? To talk more about it, we have Ms. Saroja from Melora Jewelry, who will be giving quite a detailed, will talk more about her Melora venture and the market as such on the online retailing. Moving further on it is from the early last decade, launch of buying investment gold online, if I'm not wrong, from WGC and Reliance, to purchase from there we have moved to purchasing gold through digital certificate, whereby I wouldn't even have seen the vault where the gold is being stored at. And one is being able to buy it at as low as the legal tender that's been floating in the country. So that's been the success of digital gold, where at even a rupee, one could be investing digital gold. But since the launch over the last 5 years, it's been quite a good growth. But over last 1-2 years, it's been a regulatory maze for for those in the digital gold space. To talk more about it, we have Mr. Ritesh from Bright Metals, Mr. Gaurav Mathur from Safe Gold, and Mr. Ketan Kothari from Augmont Gold. Mr. Ketan is still not okay. And the other interesting is the industry is where on the gold as a collateral. So during pandemic, I actually had the opportunity to visit. To do a site visit with an employee from Rupee while as part of the gold collateral, taking gold as a collateral, and saw through the complete disbursement process, gold loan disbursement process. All it took was 30 minutes, and the way the gold was taken to the bank, where it was deposited as a collateral. if you think of it, how the whole system has progressed from a physical store, physical locations of from where the gold needs to be collateral and taking a loan, from that to completely doing it online. There's been big progress, and Rupeek has been a pioneer on that front. To talk more about it, the products, their services, what they've been offering, we have Mr. Aditya Gupta from Rupeek. So the session today, while we talk to each of the entrepreneurs here from these various verticals, we further move to look at the various products and services and the regulatory landscape and how they think the industry need to shape in their specific sphere. So let me start with Safe Gold. Gaurav, you've been the pioneer in this field, starting digital gold. Uh, you started with plain vanilla digital gold. From there, you moved on to adding a lot more services, add-on services, awfully, at least in the last 1 year, number of services that you added on is quite significant. Could you please help the audience run through your journey? But before that, let me ask you, are you running a fintech company or a tech fin company?
Honestly, I'm not sure of the difference between fintech
Yeah.
or tech fin, but clearly, if you just look at our manpower, 70% of our manpower are computer science engineers
Exactly.
or programmers. So I think that reflects where we need to spend our time, energy, resources. Very quickly, in terms of the journey.
Welcome, Ketan.
I think it started out, or rather the journey has been driven on the back of other technology platforms. So things like UPI, Aadhaar coming in, driving all these payment apps and other large e-commerce platforms. Digital Gold is just one product that is plugged into the broader, I'd say, technology ecosystem that has been growing very rapidly in the country. So I think as an industry, we've just benefited from the fact that you've got a bunch of these technology platforms that have scaled to 50 million, 100 million, 200 million users. So if you look at the Paytms, PhonePays, Google Pays of the world, I think all of them operate at 100, 150 million plus monthly active users, or even the Amazons, Flipkarts. And just partnering with platforms like that are what have given people like us scale. I think once you partner with people like that, they push you to have new products. So whether it is going and exchanging that for jewelry or using it as collateral for a credit card or SIPs, also developments with things like UPI. It is largely on the back of the broader ecosystem that our industry has grown, and we continue to benefit from that as India continues to grow sort of in that direction.
Ketan, we just started this session talking more about products in the digital gold area. So, could you please explain about what's the motive, what's the gap that you saw in the market that led you to the launch of a tech-based product? And because you've been known for being the largest player in the physical market, from there to an interaction, to virtual interaction with your customers.
The journey started when we realized that there was a problem in the market which was not being addressed. Every time there were large occasions or festivals or during Diwali and all, there were too many customers who were looking at investing in gold. And the only options available to them were buying of gold coins. And a lot of these people were not able to buy because the minimum ticket size of purchase was at least around 5 grams or 10 grams. And people wanted to buy on a regular basis, but there was no platform per se. The whole idea was that why can't people invest in gold just the way we can buy shares? In shares, even if you want to buy one share, it's possible on the exchange. And that is where the concept of digital gold came in. And that's where the idea was that let customers accumulate smaller quantities of gold as low as possible. And then they have the option of accumulating and taking a larger piece of gold metal whenever they want to. Obviously, ETFs were there, but ETFs, the problem was that India being a consumer economy, the delivery of gold was not possible in gold ETFs. And that is the reason why the concept of digital gold came into picture.
So, Ritesh, if I had to talk about the unique proposition that you being the latest entrant in this area, what is it that you are offering to your customers that's unique from the existing players?
Since we are directly backed by a refinery.
Sorry, mic more closer to your mouth, please.
We are directly backed by refinery, Bright Metal Refinery. And we are offering, as little as 10 rupees amount. Plus, in the future, we are planning to um, add gifting system as well, so that users can gift gold without any kind of taxation and all these things. And also, the main issue is we want to simplify the user flow. We want to make our platform so simple that even end user who does not know much of the, who does not have much of the technical knowledge or have not used even mobile apps, they also can buy and sell their digital gold. But if I said our primary USP, our main unique selling point is that we are backed by refinery, and we will deliver gold coins, very frequently as compared to the other players. Since most of the players may have to take from other refineries, but we are byproduct of our refinery
So
only.
you, being a vertically integrated, you have this advantage. Is that,
Yes,
so
yes.
the costing is where your primary.
Yeah, costing will be very less. Manufacturing cost will be very less.
Aditya and Saroj, I'll be coming back to you later. Coming to you later. Let me finish off the warming up with digital gold space. So, Gaurav, if you have to talk about your USP when you started off, would be much different from what you are having it right now. Is it so?
So honestly, there are a bunch of people that offer digital gold. When we started off, most people offered pretty much the same thing,
Yes.
which is you can buy, sell, buy in small quantities, ask for delivery. Adding some differentiators takes time. It's not easy. So I think we've tied up now with lots of jewelers where you can go convert seamlessly. You can go to Tanishq or a bunch of other places and you can exchange your digital gold balance for jewelry. Or there are a whole bunch of credit card issuers that will issue you a credit card now with your safe gold balance used as collateral. But each of these are ecosystem partnerships that take 1 year, 2 years to develop. So it's with time. It's taken
You
time
want
for
to
us to come
talk
up with
more
these
about
USPs.
the credit that's available with the digital gold.
So digital gold, we've not launched credit in a big way with banks, but there are about six now. There are about 6 fintech companies which are essentially card issuers, and they are able to put a line of credit on your card, which is linked to the value of your collateral or the value of your digital gold, and that's done seamlessly. So it's a very good way to monetize the value of your digital gold without actually having to sell it. And that's something that is growing quite a lot in popularity. There have been, I should highlight that there have been some changes to the Reserve Bank of India regulations in terms of giving credit on prepaid instruments, which is causing some of these products to be restructured. But that is something that people have solutions for, and that is now increasing rapidly in popularity.
And although the interest that you provide on the deposits, like is that a product that's taken off really well?
You mean the yield on your
yield on the
digital
gold?
That's something that's in a pilot fashion as yet. We're still
Okay.
waiting for some regulatory clarity on a few issues. So it's not something that we've rolled out in a big way as yet.
Okay. Ketan, what would you say as the USP that's
So I'll tell you, Sudesh, we were always bullion traders, and we had launched the platform Spot, where we had connected to all the large jewelers across the country. The platform became extremely successful for 100-gram bars and 1 kilo gold bars and silver bars as well. And a cue was taken from this that we should be able to complete the entire life cycle of gold. So whether it is purchase of gold, whether it is leverage of gold, which is loan against gold, or whether it's monetization of gold, either under the GMS scheme or selling of old gold. That was the whole idea. And we were very well positioned because we have the refinery, we had the Spot platform, and digital gold. So the products that we launched were loan against gold in the COVID times, and we have launched in deposit under the GMS. So the idea is that digitalization of gold, which will actually make gold a financial asset, and people are able to earn returns out of it. And this is our biggest USP because of our network and our connectivity with the jewelry community, which was already there for the large bars, and we are able to pass that on to the retail customers.
okay? So Aditya, so how do you see the connect that's developed through a digital gold to the business model that of Rupee? How do you build that bridge between these two organizations, these two industries?
So actually, there is a bridge in the sense that uh, the two organizations seem to be focusing on building and setting up the gold monetization infrastructure of this country in a holistic way. And as Sudhishu shared, Rupeek has been a pioneer in the fintech space in terms of uh, disrupting the way gold, asset-backed lending and gold-backed lending is done. Uh, our first product has been, of course, doorstep gold loans, and we're the first company to bring that to market. And we have a host of products with the same vision and ambition as uh, the respective speaker before me to monetize gold in various ways. We've launched India's first gold-backed credit card. We have a host of offerings coming up in that segment around GTM, DigiLockers, BNPL schemes. So there is a strong synergy across the panel, at least from what I heard till now, in what we are trying to achieve for the country and in terms of access to formal credit, in terms of monetizing an asset that a vast majority of the people in this country purchase and own, and which has, to an extent, till now, due to various reasons, due to stigma, due to lack of options, been largely underutilized.
So, one of the biggest barriers to your growth early in the early stages of growth was breaking the mental barrier or as stigma related to providing a loan from home, right? And you still managed to get through that and been growing at a significant pace. So, uh, if I had to ask you about which are the regions which are more comfortable, more tech savvy, or really forthcoming population, which sections towards the tech-based product of yours, which how would you describe it? That
Yeah,
can
so-
from there I can take it to Ms. Saroja, talk more
Yeah.
on demographics.
So, a very interesting data point is that only about 10% of the gold assets in our country are leveraged for credit. So, overall, if you look at this across the country, the adoption of asset-backed lending and gold-backed lending is still growing. And one of the, Sudhesh, as you said, one of the massive achievements of Rupeek till now has been to enable a category of customers in this industry called new to gold loan. And we convert 60% of that category with our product. In terms of regions, uh, uh, we've seen emergence of this segment across the country, in the south, in the west, in the north, especially. But a broad contrast would be the south is more amenable as a percentage of population to asset-backed lending, while in terms of tech savviness and readiness to monetize gold, uh, both the north and the south are showing a strong, and the west are showing a strong upward trend. Certain regions in the east also, but the baseline tendency is slightly different.
So in short, I would say that you are trying to capture on the changes in the demographics, which is actually leading to a change in how one would want to engage with the gold, and that's where Saroja is also working on with Melora Jewelry. Saroja, you would want to make a short presentation of yours, or
I can
speak
just
more about-
speak, or you
Yeah.
can share the presentation, whatever you're comfortable with, Sudesh. But first of all, thank you for inviting me to this India Gold Conference. Very excited to be here, though virtually, of course, and quite appropriate that I'm here virtually, given that we are talking about technology and what all technology can make possible. As you rightly said, I think on this panel we are the only e-commerce or jewelry company, not just about gold coins or gold bars or investment-led products, but also adornment-led products that we sell. We are one of India's top jewelry companies selling online. And I can speak a little bit about the opportunity that I spotted when I started Melora 7 years ago. And thereafter, if you'd like to share the PPT, then you're welcome to do so, or I can simply answer your questions, Sudesh, whatever you're comfortable. But as we know that e-commerce in India really started off in 2008, when Flipkart launched. And over a period of time, in spite of the many challenges that the e-commerce industry has seen, It's grown from strength to strength. And not so long ago, people used to talk about 60 million online shoppers, which became 150 million online shoppers. And today we're talking about 300 million online shoppers. And by 2025 to 26, it's expected to be that India will have 600 to 700 million online shoppers, perhaps second only to China in the world. So on one side, you have the growth of the e-commerce shopping methodology, in a way, the channel of selling, which has grown rapidly thanks to COVID. I think COVID was a unexpected boon from the e-commerce perspective, though a huge humanitarian tragedy, unfortunately. And this has accelerated the growth of e-commerce adoption across multiple categories, especially in small towns. And Melora too has been the beneficiary of it. So spotting this opportunity of young India, and India having the youngest demographic in the world, combined with the fact that India has the largest gold consumption in the world, I think both these things came together very naturally in my head. And that's how the journey of Melora started. We are, I would say it would not be wrong to call us the national jeweler of India, Satish, given that we have delivered to over 3,000, I repeat, 3,000 cities, towns, villages over the last 7 years of being in business. And this is accelerating as we speak. And, there are many benefits of being an online jewelry company, but it would be, I would not be completely sharing the story if I say we are only an online jewelry company. There's so much more to us from a technology front, at the manufacturing end, at the design end, at the retailing end, of course, or even at the pricing end. So essentially, Melora is working on disrupting the jewelry industry through the use of technology at every aspect of the supply chain. I think that would be a very accurate way of describing our business model. For example, we are a no inventory business model, which is impossible for anybody in the offline world to even imagine. But our online business completely works on a custom-made jewelry product where we only manufacture upon receiving orders from the end consumer. So this is a just-in-time, asset-light manufacturing model where, only upon receiving customer orders we manufacture and then we deliver to the end customer directly. And of course, once hallmarking became the regulation, but we do know that all of India is not covered. But again, online, we are able to deliver hallmark jewelry to every single part of India, though it's not yet the law in at least half of India today. So there are huge benefits of using technology at all parts of the supply chain, which we are leveraging quite well.
Talking about it, then I think we just, was our time cut down from 45 minutes to 30 minutes? Is it? Oh, okay. So let's jump to the regulatory space in that case. I actually wanted to dig more into on the consumer perspectives. This has been, for this digital gold, has been, and anybody who's been operating the fintech area is walking through a regulatory maze. That's what any digital gold service provider has been, at least for the last 1.5 to 2 years. How do you plan? How do you plan your business? I think we need to agree to a point where businesses finds an opportunity where regulations do not exist. And regulations typically come in after the business are started, after new ventures comes in, and then the regulators step in. That's how globally it works. But over here in India, if you have to compare the specific digital gold space, there's been too much of controls on how you would want to operate. So is it, one, building on the trust? How do we build the trust? Are we to look at the regulatories? Are we to work towards changing the regulatories approach to the whole business? Or we need to work towards using the same technology, building the trust within the system? Start with Ketan.
So this, as you rightly pointed out, regulations have always been different in the gold industry, simply because some of the regulators in India or some of the authorities consider it as a commodity, some treat it as a currency. So the Reserve Bank will also have some authority over it, the DGFT will have some authority over it, the Consumer Ministry when it comes to hallmarking. So regulations are all over. What I believe is that India is such a huge country but regulations actually help increase the business because it creates a natural trust. What happens is when the regulations don't come in, that's when companies like us take the initiative to come up with innovative products because that's what the market demands for. And eventually regulations also come in. Like what we are seeing now with Sundaresh has just said about the electronic gold receipts. And with the electronic gold receipts, it's going to really change the way we look at gold in our country. Regulations are a must, I think, in a lot of gold products because we have seen a lot of issues also when there have been unregulated products. You know, there have been jewelers who have been running schemes. Sometimes there have been issues with the consumers, and the whole industry takes a beating because of that. So yes, initially what happens is when you're launching a product, the trust is the most important factor, the convenience that you give to the customers, the value added products that you give to the customers. And when you're constantly putting a dialogue with the various regulators, they also understand how we are trying to solve the problem. And one of the problems that we all want to solve is India's complete dependency on imported gold, and it is
We'll
leading
get
to
there, sir.
this thing. So yeah, regulations are a must, but as
So
you
how do you
said,
solve
it
it?
starts
Gaurav,
with the trust.
Your take on how do we solve this whole maze here?
So I don't think there's any simple answer that there's one solution and you solve
Yeah.
the maze. As Ketan said, you have to sort of engage with the regulators. As an operator of a business, I think the only thing that you can do is be very flexible because regulations will keep changing. It's not going to stay constant. Regulations come about in response to a whole range of sort of issues and factors. So you have to be able to run a business that can change, you know, very fast, very quickly. You can come up, you can change your flows, change your product. And I think the only other answer is to have a very active dialogue with the regulators. It's not always going to yield the results that you want, but I think it is incumbent on us as the industry to be sort of engaged with the regulators and work with industry bodies. So between getting constant feedback, keeping your business flexible, and having an open mind that how you can benefit from new regulatory structures.
Okay, both
like
of
the
you have been
AGR.
really diplomatic out here. Really safe on your words. Ritesh, you've been focusing quite a lot on the onboarding the customers.
You should answer your own question because you've been
No.
working on the
For a
policy
change,
side.
I'm on this side so, to ask questions. You've been working more towards the onboarding the customers to bring in a lot more ease and ensuring that the compliances are at higher levels when you're onboarding the customers. So you think that's going to be the path ahead?
Yeah, we will be focusing on simplicity of our platform so that users should not feel, should not waste much time in doing KYC and all this stuff. We should make a process that should, less time consuming to the end users. That's why, like for KYC, earlier before we used to upload documents on the platform. We have Aadhaar and tons of APIs available.
Okay.
You can utilize those very efficiently, and that would be easier for end users also.
Aditya, I don't think your space has seen much of a slowdown from the regulators in terms of how you operate. But then there are risks. There are risks in terms of the identification of purity of the jewelry that you take as collateral. And how do you manage such kind of risk in a space, especially when it's not regulated? Because tomorrow anything could happen with the jewelry that's been collateralized at your end.
So, Sudesh, I would actually differ on the positive side to an extent and say that regulations have, of course, enabled the innovation Rupeek has brought into the industry, but they've also enabled the kind of model asset-backed lending model Rupeek is able
I'm going to borrow
to
2 more minutes. Yeah.
deliver in this country. So the regulations around partnering with banks for deploying capital towards gold-backed lending are extremely powerful, extremely forward-looking, and they've enabled not just Rupeek, actually many fintechs and many companies to grow the credit landscape of India. So regulations have played a strongly enabling role. Yes, they do evolve over time. Our belief is they evolve to make things easier for the customer, and we are in a customer-first, tech-first business. So As one of the gentlemen said, we just
Thanks,
have to be
Aditya.
flexible.
I'll have to jump to Saroj on this. You've been having one of the easiest businesses, at least with respect to regulation part, if I have to say. But then, you are working more towards the AR, VR aspects of the business. There's been a lot more happening on that. Many still do not understand among the consumers that any of the apps that's being used on the AR, VR space, they are taking lot data from. They are actually taking a lot of data from me. They are taking my expressions. They are taking my emotions. Quite possible that even my retina has been scanned at that time. There's a lot of information that's been gathered, and there's no laws that stops it. It's very early stage of discussion that's been happening on that front in the European markets on that. So today you are investing quite a lot, looking to invest quite a lot on the AR front. And how do you see these things shaping up your business 5 years down? You're on mute.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Sudesh, as you know that, we are a tech company, and tech companies take customer privacy laws the most seriously, I would say, and I can certainly speak for myself at Melora. And, for every action that the consumer is taking on the app or on the M site or the desktop, as the case may be, you always have to take consent, and without consent, there is nothing that a tech-backed company does, because there's no individual that is involved over here. It's completely automated process, right? And so customer privacy laws are the most sacrosanct, and we e-commerce companies take it extremely seriously. And obviously we are liable if we don't take it seriously, So no AR, VR solutions can operate without the consumer giving access to their camera or to solutions that the consumer is seeking. So this is actually empowering the consumer to have a better experience for themselves. And they can easily choose not to have that experience at any point of time. No company can, through the camera, grab your picture and take it out of your hands if you don't want to share it, right? Or any data of yours that you want to not share. So I think, AR, VR solutions are in general good for the consumer, and companies are enabling solutions that are helpful for consumers. And I'm not particularly or overly concerned about this aspect, because all privacy laws are strictly followed by tech-backed companies.
Okay, thanks. I'll leave the floor for questions. Good. Any questions? Yeah? Good.
All right, that's it then, and that was a super interesting session. Big thank you to each one here, and a big thank you to Mr. Nambiat for chairing it so enthusiastically. May I invite you to now? Yes, thank you so much, sir. I would like now ask you to please present a memento to each one of our speakers. With this, a big thank you to each one of our speakers that have joined us online. Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask you to please put your hands together and let your applause be louder and more visible to the people who've joined us from other locations. Having said that, it's time for us to first present a memento to Mr. Ketan Kothari. Saroja ma'am, we would like to say thank you to you. Let our applause be the memento for you for now.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
Moving on, a memento for Mr. Ritesh Singh. A big thank you to Mr. Gaurav Mathur. And let's make it an applause to remember for Mr. Aditya Gupta of Rupeek. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And with this, I would like to invite from Bangalore Refinery, Mr. Suresh Dhruv, to present a memento to Mr. Sudesh Nambiat. Gentlemen, please get up close on the stage for a group picture.